So the first actor is the executive assistant. Upon successful logging into the FIAPS, the executive assistant will start off by creating the process on FIAPS. So let's assume we're using the change of name process as a case study. The executive assistant simply selects change of name from the process menu. It takes him to the change of name window. On that window, to the top right-hand corner, there is a new button. So clicking on the new button, the new form for initiating a process will be displayed. The executive assistant fills up this form. He starts by selecting a financial institution. He puts in a description. And then he ties this job to a specific department and to a specific group. So having done all this, he goes ahead and clicks on the save and close button. So upon saving the job remains in the new application state. At this point, the executive assistant is not yet done with the job. The moment he's done, the job will leave his window and move on to the next person's window. So for him to be able to successfully move this job to the next actor's window, he or she needs to come back, click on the job again. So this is the new application, the sample job for change of name that was just created. So he comes back, he clicks on the job. It takes him back to the job window, of which, and in the job window, there are several tabs. So the first tab which he worked on earlier on was the basic data tab. So next, he comes to the document tab where he needs to attach a document to this job. So every job or process must have a document attached to it. So he selects the document he wants to attach, he attaches it, and he puts in a comment about the document. Once he's done with this and he clicks the upload document button, the document is then attached and displayed in the document window. So he has other tabs. He has the tax tab, which he doesn't have access to because the tax tab starts from the processing officer down to the governor. He has the workflow tab. In the workflow tab, you can see how the job has moved from one desk to another. But currently, the job is still in the first state, so there is no information in the workflow tab. So once the executive assistant is done, remember, he started off by filling up the basic data form. He saved, reopened the process, and then uploaded documents. Now, having done this, he then has access to submit the process. So upon submission, the process leaves his desk and moves on to the next actor's window. So as you can see now, the executive assistant, the process has left the executive assistant's window. So at this point, the group head is notified via an email notification. Having received the email notification, he then logs in to the FIAPS. Upon successfully logging into FIAPS, he is greeted with his dashboard where he can see the various jobs waiting on his desk, each categorized under its process name. So remember, we started with the change of name process. So he can see that he has one pending process which has a current life of 7.4 minutes. So he clicks on the change of name process and it takes him to the change of name window where he can see all the change of name jobs that are waiting for him. So looking at each job, he simply clicks on it to open up the details window for the job. So in the details window, he then assigns the job to a team and he can review the document that was uploaded by the processing officer. He is also expected to enter a comment or description before he or she is able to submit the job or return the job. So upon submitting the job would leave his window and then move on to the team lead window. So the change of name job has left the group heads window. So the team lead then receives an email notification and he then logs in the FIAPS. Upon logging in, the team lead sees the process on his dashboard. So he sees he has 3 processes waiting for him in the change of name category, and he sees the age of those processes combined. So he simply clicks on the change of name category to open up the list of processes. He sees the various processes. He clicks on any one of them that he wants to work on to open the details window for that particular job. Once the window has been opened, the team lead then assigns a processing officer to the job, and the team lead can also decide to mark the job as urgent if need be. So he can flag the job, assign a processing officer, review documents, and also upload additional documents if need be. And before submitting or returning the job, he also has to enter a comment or remark. So having done this, he goes ahead to submit the job. So the processing officer, upon receiving the job, gets an email notification. Having received the email notification, processing officer logs in. Upon logging into the FIAPS on his or her dashboard, processing officer sees all the process waiting for his or her attention, and then simply clicks on the change of name. Since we are using the change of name as a case study, clicks on the change of name category to view the list of all the processes waiting for him or her. Now, alternatively, the processing officer, instead of clicking on the change of name category from the dashboard, can also click on the reports window menu, and from the reports menu, the processing officer can click on my processes to view a list of all the processes that are waiting for his or her attention. So this is a different means of viewing all processes waiting for your attention. So he can also use my pending processes to filter out only the pending processes. And you can run a search operation on these processes by selecting the field you want to search by and simply clicking on the search button. The processing officer can also export a list of all these pending processes to an Excel file, which can be downloaded from the top right-hand corner of the FIAPS window. He or she can also print out this list of pending processes. But to continue with the workflow, the processing officer simply opens any process of choice by clicking on the process. This opens up the details window for that specific process. Then he or she can review the documents that has been uploaded and then capture in the appraisal tasks that were performed. So having captured the appraisal tags, you can also capture multiple appraisal tags and delete the appraisal tags if you made a mistake and recapture only at this stage. And once he or she is done, you can enter his final comments or remarks and then either approve or decline the job. So once the processing officer is done, he submits the job, which then moves to the next stage of its life cycle. So at this point, the job goes back to the team lead, who is also notified via email. Once he or she receives the email, logs into FIAPS, sees the job waiting for him in the change of name category, clicks on the category, locates the job, can also search for a specific job via its description or any keyword that is contained in the description of the job. So for example, he can search for tests and it brings up all the jobs that have tests in its description. So having identified the job, simply clicks on the job to open the details window. In the details window, you can review every information that has been captured as regards this job and then decide to approve or reject the job. Puts in a comment and then submits. At the point of submitting, the job leaves the team lead desk and then moves on to the desk of the group head. So once the group head is notified via email, he also logs into FIAPS. Upon logging in, on his dashboard. He clicks on the appropriate category. We are still using change of name as our case study. Having clicked on it, he sees the job. He clicks on the job to open its details window. In the details window, he reviews every information that has been captured. He then decides to approve or reject the job. An important point to note here is if he doesn't want to approve the job, once he clicks no in the approve section, the buttons he has access to then changes. So he will have access to either rejecting the job, querying the job, or returning the job. But if he clicks yes, he will have access to approving or returning the job. So at this point, the group head is okay with the job. So he clicks yes to approve the job. He has access to the approve button at the bottom. He clicks on the approve button, which will then mark the job as approved. And at this point, the job will leave his desk and go back to the processing officer's desk. So the processing officer's desk, the job will be in the waiting for dispatch state. So the processing officer opens up the job. He or she has access to the various tabs and information as regards this job. He or she has to capture the dispatch information or any other relevant information and specify the date the job was dispatched and save. Having done this, the processing officer also put a final comment. And finally submit the job. An important point to note when jobs are moving from desk to desk is that once the job is on your desk, if you don't want to submit the job and you have captured the information into the job, it is expected that you save the job. So you click on the save and close button. Clicking on the save and close button ensures that the job will be saved and it will remain with you. So it won't leave your desk and move on to the next desk. But in contrast to that, if you click on submit, it leaves your desk in the forward direction. If you click on return, it leaves your desk in the backward direction. But clicking on save and close just saves the changes you've made to the job, and the job will continue to remain on your desk until you decide to submit or return the job, which then moves it away from your desk. So once the job has been completed, the processing officer can only refer back to the job from the reports menu. In the reports menu, he or she click my processes and can then see the job showing with the completed state in this reports menu. So If the processing officer needs to refer to any information that was contained in this job, he or she can click on the job to open up the details window, and at this point can only view information that has been contained or that is contained in this job, and cannot perform any other action since it has been completed. So this brings us to the end of the workflow processing with FIAPS. So other menus to look at on FIAPS is the document management menu. So during the course of any job, documents would have been uploaded. So this document management menu gives us access to an archive of documents or list of documents that has been uploaded. So we could search for any specific documents across all processes that passed our decks through this menu, and we could refer back to the document by simply clicking on the document link to open up that specific document. We could download the documents, and we could see the processes the documents were tied to and comments that were tied to that specific document. So we could click on the process link, which will now open up the process detailed window that document was attached to. So we've seen how the document management window links us back to the process details and the purpose of this window. In short, it gives us access to the list of documents that have been uploaded to processes that passed our decks. So thank you very much.